Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.
Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today I've got the very good fortune to be joined by Ellis Hammond. Ellis is the founder of Kingdom Capitalists, the #1 mastermind community for Christian real estate entrepreneurs. A niche I did not know existed. He also manages his own network of investors who are seeking passive investment opportunities in multifamily apartment complexes across the U.S. Ellis, thanks so much for joining us.
Seth, what an honor, man. Pumped to be here. Thanks for having me on. Excited to get in.
All right, super excited. So let's go back in time. I believe your journey started back when you were a pastor back in college.
Yeah, I know. I was a former, probably not a story you hear much, but I actually started my career as a college pastor and really missionary for all intents and purposes. And really had no desire or want to go and make money. Like it was just not part of my mission. And we started growing our organization, our nonprofit. And I talk about this journey a lot in my new book, but really what happened, man, I realized that we needed more money. For so long, I thought money was really something I didn't want to be a part of, just part of my story, part of my journey. I'm sure like so many others.
Sure, you would, being a pastor, you had probably heard money is the root of all evil, even though that's a misquote.
That's it, man.
Really. There are probably some quite negative associations to money.
Yep. I saw it though. Like it was a disruptor in my family. And so for so long, man, I was like, I don't want anything to do a part of it. But as we started to grow our organization, what I began to realize is that we needed more money. And that if we were going to really have a impact on our world, our community, we really needed more money. So we just got hungry to say, man, how do we build it, create it, multiply it? And for us, the vehicle for that became real estate. And now like we have some other businesses as well too, but early on, that was real estate for us. And, we bought a duplex here in San Diego, California. 10 months later, we bought our first apartment complex, which was 144 units. So we went from
that's a huge jump. Most people start with one door, then two, then maybe they get used to a single family property. They might do a duplex or a quad, but you went straight for the stars. So how did you when you decided, hey, we need money? Why did you pick real estate and how did you learn? Because I'm sure you didn't just wake up one morning and go, hey, I'm going to go buy a property. Like talk about your education process.
Yeah, man. So literally I had no financial education. Like it's not, I went to school, I went to college, but of course no one taught me anything about how to really multiply money. Right. So, but I remember, man, getting to this moment, like, all right, I'm ready. Like my mindset has shifted. I'm hungry. I want to know how to really grow and build wealth. I was driving in my car and I literally hear a radio ad and it says, if you want to learn how to build wealth through real estate, call this number and come to this 2-hour seminar. Like, can you believe that still works?
It was Robert Kiyosaki, Ron LeGrand, Grant Cardone.
Yeah, one of those guys, right? I won't even say who it was, but yeah.
He's done marketing for some of them, yep.
But here's the thing, man. It hit me because I'm like, well, no one else is trying to teach me how to build wealth. And so it's like I went, and I'll be honest with you, I don't remember a whole lot that I learned, but what I saw, I'll never forget. And I saw blue collar men and women, folks who don't come from a lot of money, changing their lives through real estate. And it was the first time I realized that real estate is actually not the end goal for the wealthy. It really is the starting point for all who want to build wealth. And that was because up till that point, man, I really thought you had to be a millionaire or have millions to buy real estate. And what I realized then is like, no, You have to have a skill and you have to maybe know people, but you don't have to have all the money. And so literally our first deal was a duplex. We had a family investor who wanted to come in and be a partner with us. And so they put up the down payment, and dude, we did everything else. And we did that on 2 units. And then honestly, we did the same exact thing on 144 units. We partnered with an experienced operator who had the track record, who had a third-party property management company that could manage the deal. And we had the network, and we had a great network who trusted us and was ready to invest with us. And so we did the duplex, was awesome. We created a ton of money in that in about 12 months. But here's the thing, Seth, and this is why, like, I honestly, out of necessity, you did 144 units next, is because when you buy a duplex, you're doing it all, man. Like, you're the landscaper, you're the landlord, right? Like, you're, and I hate landscaping.
Toilets, yep.
You're right. And so when I was like raking the yard for like the 50th time, I'm like, all right, I need a better way. And so going bigger was, it created more problems, but also it created more solutions, because I was still a full-time college pastor. I couldn't be buying a duplex at a time. And we were on a mission now, man. We wanted to make as much money as we could. And I just realized buying a duplex at a time wasn't going to do that. And so that's where we learned about this vehicle called syndication, which allows us to really put deals together, raise money from private investors, and go buy large assets that no one could really purchase on their own. And we all get the benefit. And so that really is our business now. We have an investment firm or an acquisition side to our business, where we're raising money, finding deals, purchasing those deals, and really executing our business plan to create equity.
All right. So this is such a fascinating story. Have you written a book?
Yeah, I'm writing it right now, actually, man. It's going to be out. It's going out in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Do you have a publisher?
Well, not on this one. This is, I'm writing a bigger book. Maybe we can talk on, but this, you just go to missionofmultifamily.com and you can grab it.
Okay. I was gonna say, well, we own a publishing company, so self-serving, but let's talk about that.
I got a bigger one coming though, Seth. I'm actually excited. I hope we got some time at the end of this, because I got a bigger thing that I think is going to be a big hit. I need your help on.
Okay, awesome. So I got to tell you a story, even though I'm interviewing you. So because you have such an interesting parallel story in a totally different way. So do you know who Darren Garman is?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so he's in my marketing world. He's been known him for decades, and he started out as a prison guard, Iowa prison guard. He goes to get his performance review in the warden's office, and he's looking at staring off into the zoning out, but he notices on the warden's bookshelf behind the desk there's a book called Think and Grow Rich.
Yep.
And he says, hey, can I borrow? What the heck is that? Can I borrow it? And then he goes and he starts investing in real estate because he doesn't want to be a prison guard forever. And then he reinvents the real estate business model at the time. So traditional brokers, a real estate agent, real estate broker, sells one house at a time to people who want to live in it. And he says, I don't want to do that. I got to go to 50 open houses and drive people around. And this is 30, 40, before COVID, 20, 30 years ago. So he says, I'm going to sell investment property. I'm going to sell Iowa property because it's middle of America, apple pie and football games on Friday nights, and the economy doesn't change and people pay their rents and it's stable and we don't have any big industry here that's going to collapse. And I'm going to sell it worldwide. And I'm going to charge people before they even pay me a commission to buy a property. I'm going to charge them for access to my network of Iowa properties.
Wow. Yeah, it's brilliant.
So I got a passive revenue stream, whether they buy or not, but I've marketed this as salt of the earth, blue collar, American flag property, invest in predictable cash flow.
Yeah, it'll take Armageddon to blow it up. Yeah,
pretty
absolutely.
much. And then he starts going, instead of doing that, works incredibly well. So then he builds going after a fund. Hey, just if you don't want to own the property and get the tax advantages this way, just write a check to the fund. It's a limited partnership and we'll go pick all the properties for you. So he grows it till he's using investor capital to go after like strip plazas and shopping malls, 20 years ago, and giant apartment complexes. So he did a similar thing out of a weird path. Like you normally don't think prison guard turned real estate, just like you don't think pastor turned real estate. And the name that keeps popping into my head, even though I'm not being paid for it, is the profitable pastor, which if it isn't taken, you should go get. And so you started growing your mindset exponentially to be able to handle the bigger deals and serve your community, your parishioners, and God at a higher level. How did you then turn that into the #1 mastermind community? How did you decide to start a mastermind? And then why specifically Christian real estate entrepreneurs? What are you providing? How is that growing? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this is different than our acquisition side of the business. This is a real community. Seth, as I got into this, man, it's not like I left my faith, right? Or left my mission to
No,
really
this
honor
was
God.
to serve God at a
Right.
higher level. Like, I love that there's a mission behind it, and it's not just, I want to make $1 million. Why? Just to have it. You're
Right.
like, no, trying to help people.
Right. And so we started getting into this, and dude, I had so many great mentors and so many people teaching me about this business and how to make money and do that. But what I didn't really have, man, and what it felt so separate was like, okay, now that I'm learning how to grow and build and multiply money, but then I also have this serious component of my faith that I really want to continue to grow in. But it felt like everything was just separate. Like either you can grow on my faith or I can make money. And I'm like, I want both, man. Like I need people who can really talk about both. And it just wasn't out there. At least I couldn't find it. And so like any good entrepreneur, I just started it. I put together a board of advisors of guys that I had met in this industry who were absolutely crushing it and said, hey, would you sit on a board and would you come and serve and be a part of this vision I have to really bring together a community of like-minded, faith-driven operators.
Faith and finances. I love it.
Yeah. And they said yes. And so we went out and I asked like the first 10 people that I knew from LinkedIn, said, hey, I'm starting this. This is how much it costs. Do you want to be a part of it? And they said yes. And so that's how we got going. We met on Zoom. And then from there, man, we started a podcast show called Kingdom Capitalist. That's grown to be, one of the top podcasts in the religion and spirituality category, all about investing, business, finance. So that was been a huge push. And so now we're closer to 30 members. We provide really a community, a network. The cool thing about this industry is that a lot happens together. So I have the network, you have the deal, right? And we can partner together. And so they're getting this board of advisor group. They're getting this peer of like-minded people that they've never had, because you can't really find a group like this at church, because honestly, it just doesn't really exist.
Right. I mean, the only thing even is money related is Dave Ramsey's stuff.
Yeah. Unless you want to go to Dave Ramsey course, right? And so there's only that. And so we put together this incredibly unique community. There's an opportunity to partner on deals, which is happening. So it's been really fun, man. Like I said, I was what my role was as a pastor before was I was building communities of faith on college campuses. And so in some ways, man, I'm just doing what I've always done, which is build communities that are really for a bigger purpose. And I feel like that's exactly what we're doing in the real estate industry now. And it's been a blast, man. And I talk about mindset. Like I cannot still to this day, when I look back, like, wow, I can't believe people pay me to actually do what I love, which is just build communities,
I mean, it's incredible, man. I told my kids the other day, if you can say that, you never work a day in your life. Yeah. I texted my wife earlier and I was like, I hope you're having as much fun home with the kids as I am at work. I know she's not, but I wish she was.
Yeah. So it's been great. I wouldn't say I've never, I'm working pretty hard right now, man. I think I'm working harder than, but it is fun. And someone asked me the other day, like, what is retirement? I'm like, well, it's, not having to worry about finances and still doing what I love, which I'm getting to do that right now. I feel like I'm retired yet because I still need the money, but, we're really enjoying it, man. Yeah.
You don't need it. It is a reward for the abundance you're creating in the world.
Oh, there you go. I mean, I totally believe that. I mean, value or money flows to value. And I totally agree. But in the sense of when I think about financial freedom, the way we talk about it is that it's not having, $1 million or $2 million or $10 million stored up in a nest egg somewhere. It's having enough passive income coming in to cover your expenses from your investments. And we're not there yet. So that's really what we mean by, financial freedom or retirement from that sense.
Absolutely. I would agree with that definition 100%. So you mentioned the role of mentors in your life. What's the best advice you've ever been given?
That comes to mind right away. Focus on your superpower. Like what you have to know what you're good at. In this business, in any business, you don't need to be good at everything. Like in this world of real estate investing, I'm not good at a lot of stuff. I hate looking at spreadsheets. But what I'm really good at is I'm an evangelist at heart. I can share a message. I can tell a story. I can build communities. And so I know my superpower. I'm an evangelist, man. I'm a storyteller. I build relationships. Everything else, I have partners to do the rest, honestly. And so my superpower is this media marketing, building relationships, raising money, essentially when it comes to our business. And then I have really great people who do other stuff. And that has taken me faster, further, I think, than any other thing. And then the other thing, man, like we all know, this is nothing new. You're everything's in your network. I mean, everything's in your network. I mean, Seth, the reason we're talking today is because of my network. Like someone made an introduction. I said, do you need to pre-interview me? And you're like, no, I know this guy. I'm like, okay, that was easy, right? Like everything happens, I think, because of your network. So those two things, man, have tremendously been a blessing in my life.
That is fantastic advice. What are, for folks who are watching or listening who are interested in carrying their faith of whatever kind with their finances,
Sure.
What were some of the biggest obstacles or hurdles you had to overcome? What was kind of the adversities that were thrown in your way, and what you learned from some of them?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I talk about those three shifts, in this book, the three barriers for me. It was, value or money flows to value. I think that's a huge, we've already talked about this concept. And you look at the guys, Steve Jobs, right? Elon Musk. I mean, those who are ultra billionaires now, like these guys have created a value to the world that people are willing to pay for. And people ask me, well, how much money should you make, Ellis? I'm like, well, how much value should you bring to the world? Right? Like it's a stupid question. Like you should make as much money as possible. Now, how much you keep and what you put in your pocket, that's a stewardship question. But how much you should make, that's a dumb question, because it's how much value should you bring to the world? And regardless of what faith you are, the answer should be infinite. Like you want to bring as much value for the good of others as possible. So that was a huge one. I think also the other one for me that I had to realize is that when it comes to money, man, there's really only two routes you can go. I truly believe this. And this is why, at least in the Bible, I think in any religion it's probably the same, but at least in the Bible, Jesus talks about money a lot. And because he realizes this, I've realized this, either money becomes your master, meaning you serve it, or you learn how to become master over money. And a lot of us just don't get the financial education to learn how to grow, create, multiply money. And so we think of it as a limited resource where it's not, man. And so, I love what you were just even talking about earlier. It's not a limited resource. And so I think learning that I actually can be a good steward of money. Part of that is learning how to create it, protect it, multiply it is a big part of that. So those two things, man, have been massive for me in realizing and just even being on this journey. And those two things kept me from, I didn't have any of it because I didn't believe those two things at all early on.
That is beautiful. You're reminding me that I came up with the idea like 10 years ago that I wanted to start an angel outreach program that was marketing for nonprofits who can't afford us, to help them spread their message and to find a way to raise capital to be able to donate marketing to them, to help them to get more members, more donations, more mission. You're reminding me that I should actually do something with that.
I'd love to help with that, man. That's a great mission. I think that's so cool. I've been in the nonprofit world. There's a mindset there that's really difficult for anybody to be able to spend money to make more money, because
they don't think of it as making money. They think they're supposed to be poor. They think they're supposed to beg for handouts and donations, and they're always supposed to be scraping. So yes, I agree 100%. For our folks who are watching or listening, so the book that you're putting out really shortly, where can they go get that? Where can they go learn more about you? And then let's talk about book number 2.
Yeah, missionofmultifamily.com is a missionary's journey towards apartment investing, or a missionary's journey towards financial freedom to apartment investing. So missionofmultifamily.com, go grab that. Right now it's free, and I really wanted just to get it out there to really tell my story and help people really see that it's possible. And then I'm sure there's going to be some more. It's free, so you can go there and grab it. If you want to interact with me, you'll get an email from me as well. And so I'd love to get your feedback after you check it out. LinkedIn is another great place. I create a ton of content on LinkedIn for anyone using that platform. If you're not, gosh, I highly recommend it, man. I do so much business on LinkedIn. It's ridiculous. So go and, find me, connect with me. Love to chat on LinkedIn as well. So those would be two great spots, Seth.
Awesome. This has been Seth Greene with Ellis Hammond of missionofmultifamily.com. Make sure to go get the book. I just opted in. Make sure to go check him out on YouTube, LinkedIn, and everywhere else. Ellis, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Seth.
Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level, but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.